Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, we are doing a collective reading and energy update. For those of you who may be new, I do these readings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So happy Friday, and I hope you've all been having a really beautiful week so far. I know that for many of us, it's been an energetically intense one with the full moon and total lunar eclipse that we experienced not so long ago, and that we are really still feeling a lot of the energetic effects from. So I hope you are nourishing yourself during this time, taking extra care of your body, your mind, your soul. And today it just seemed fitting because of all of the intense full moon energy we've been experiencing that I would be drinking a peppermint tea today, a nice hot tea. So this is one of my go-to warm, comforting beverages, especially later in the evening. And I would love to know if you are eating or drinking something special during this reading. Let me know in the comments. So today is one of those readings where I just wanted to come on in sort of a relaxed fashion. I want this to feel like we're having some kind of conversation over coffee or tea or something like that. And I really want to let the energy lead the messages today. So I am going to start by shuffling the traditional tarot cards, and I'm just going to see where things want to go. I don't have any preconceived idea of what this reading is going to be. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start shuffling. I'm hearing stepped into a new reality and something about a shift. So for some of you, you may be feeling this week as though you are either approaching a new reality or that you've recently stepped into some kind of new reality. But I'm also getting a kind of loneliness or an emptiness. So I'm hearing clearing space, and I'm seeing someone moving all of the furniture out of one home, and there's this empty space, but then it's because they're actually moving into a brand new home. And maybe that's literal for some of you. Maybe I'm speaking to someone who is actually moving literally, but I'm getting that in many cases, your life is clearing out to prepare some kind of major move into something new. But the complication is you may be feeling that empty space right now without necessarily knowing consciously what it is that you are actually moving into. For some of you, this could be specifically in love because, well, this is going to get really specific. I don't know who I'm picking up on here, but for someone listening, I'm getting this message in someone's love life that I know, again, this is specific, so only take from these readings, of course, what resonates with you personally and your own intuition, because I do channel many different people and situations and connections. But I'm picking up on someone who has felt as though their love life recently has been weeded out or cleared out. So there is this sense that people have been uprooted from your life and it's left some kind of empty space. The thing about this uprooting process, though, is that it actually felt really aligned the entire time. In fact, I'm getting that you may have actually been the one who chose to uproot certain people or connections from your life. I'm hearing I'm done. So you may have been the one to suddenly decide, you know what? I'm done giving energy to this person romantically or to these different connections, or I'm hearing something may have not been up to your standards. Well, your new standards, because I feel like your standards for connection have risen. And as a result of that, you may have had a lot of sudden clarity in your love life where you suddenly realized, you know what, I am done with this particular situation or dynamic. I no longer feel the need or the pull to connect with this person in the same way, yeah, I really sense you uprooting a lot of people or dynamics from your life. Again, for many of you, this will be romantic. It doesn't have to be. But if it is romantic, there's this feeling that you just cleared out all of this space. And there's this beautiful peace and calm to that. But then there's also this underlying feeling of, wait a second, now suddenly I'm in this empty room. Now suddenly I'm alone. And you may be looking around thinking, did I do too much uprooting, or did I do too much weeding out of my life or of my social circle or my relationships or whatever it is? But what I'm getting is that you didn't weed out too much. In fact, that entire process was so guided by your intuition. And that's why you felt guided to suddenly distance from a lot of different people or things. Now, in some cases, for some of you, you may not have been the one doing the uprooting. Maybe these other individuals actually upped and left your life, or there was just some unexplainable disconnect between the two of you that wasn't really explainable from either side. But in any case, it feels like you are now left with this kind of clear, empty, open space. And there may be a part of your kind of ego stepping in like, wait a second, is it too empty? Is it too quiet here? Am I too alone? Did I distance myself from too many different people, dynamics, or opportunities? But the message coming through loud and clear is that when you chose to uproot these dynamics and situations and people from your life that you knew deep down you were not a match with energetically, you actually cleared the space for what you've really been desiring and what really is a match for you to find you and to connect with you. Now, again, I know we're getting kind of specific in this reading, but to continue this train of thought, I feel that when you uprooted these people or situations from your life, part of why you did so is because they were asking you to make some kind of compromise. And of course, all relationships and connection require forms of compromise, but this is the kind of compromise that actually asks you to betray yourself to some degree or to dilute or shrink yourself. So what I'm getting is that whatever this was, it was almost tempting to you in a way because I feel like it was offering you something that you may have wanted on some level, but it was requiring you to go about achieving or attaining whatever that thing was by abandoning, betraying, or shrinking yourself. And I'm hearing that whatever this wasn't worth that cost. I mean, nothing really from my perspective is worth that cost, the cost of shrinking yourself, of betraying yourself, because you being fully lit up, fully connected to your most authentic self allows you to radiate a kind of energy that is so uplifting and powerful that it's actually your greatest gift that you have to give to anyone and to the world at large. But what I'm getting here is I feel that some of these situations that were uprooted or these opportunities or relationships, it's almost like they held pieces of what you want. And you could have gotten some level, or maybe on the surface, you could have gotten on the surface what you want, but it would have required you to betray or abandon yourself to some degree in the process. And many people would take that deal. They would take the deal of needing to shrink themselves in order to get on the surface what it appears that they want or to get what they want more quickly. But you have this inner trust within yourself. You truly believe, I'm getting like in your heart and soul, that nothing that is truly meant for you will require you to shrink or betray yourself in any way. And you are correct in this, because what I'm getting is that while this may have given you on the surface what may have looked to be something that you wanted, it would never feel fulfilling. It's almost like I'm hearing a full house, but an empty spirit, or an empty house, but a full spirit. I don't know why that kind of phrasing is coming up here, but what I'm getting is it's almost like right now you may be in that empty house. You may feel as though you've lost everything or lost a lot of friends or a lot of romantic connection, or maybe someone specific, romantic who was in your life, or you lost some kind of opportunity. And again, whatever this thing is that you lost, it was like very visible in a way to other people. Other people could look at it and say, oh, it looks like they're getting something that they want, or it looked right on the surface, but it would have been that full house, empty spirit kind of metaphor. You would have had what looked to be what you wanted on the surface, but it wouldn't have any of that inner fulfillment because it wouldn't really be harmonizing fully with your spirit. And you would be aware of that mismatch energetically running through it like an undercurrent. And so what I'm picking up is that now it's kind of the opposite. You're in this empty space, literally or metaphorically, and yet your spirit feels full because there's this sense that you have fully shown up for yourself in this situation, that you've done right by yourself in whatever choices that you made, even if those choices were difficult to make, because again, it required you to let go of something that on the surface appeared to be something that you wanted, but your inner compass was leading you away from it. I'm hearing to something better. Because what I'm getting is that you actually are going to manifest everything you want here in your soul's timing, but it's actually going to contain every single aspect of what you're desiring, not just pieces of it. And if you were to have settled for this person, this relationship, this situation, whatever it is, that only contained pieces of what you wanted, I'm getting that you would have in essence kind of cluttered up your energetic space and you wouldn't have had the room for what is manifesting in your life. So if you've been wondering like, why all of a sudden does the space around me feel empty? Why all of a sudden did I lose all of these friends or these opportunities or this person romantically? Space is being cleared for what you really desire that's actually going to be fulfilling to you on all levels. But what I'm getting is that this is happening not via the fast route, but via your soul's true timing. And I'm getting that you can look back on your life. And I mean, most of you I feel can. If you can't, then maybe this will be kind of like a case study example. But most of you can look back on your life and you can see times where, for whatever reason, your soul would not allow you to conform to something. And I actually feel like this has been a theme in your life where there's this phrase, and I think I used this once a couple years ago with someone I was talking to, where I said, it's like, I want to want it. And they thought that was so funny to say that you want to want something. But I'm so curious if any of you relate to this, because have you ever felt almost like, wow, it looks like everyone kind of desires this path or this kind of thing in their life or this kind of conventional manifestation, whatever it is. And if I wanted that, if my soul desired that, it would be so easy to just follow that pathway and fall right in line. But for whatever reason, that's not where my soul is guiding me. It's like I want to want it, but my soul is leading me in this different direction. And I have to trust that heart pull. And so I get that there's this theme in your life where it's almost like over and over, you found yourself in situations where you have to be in a place where your timing looks very off to the people around you. I'm getting that there have been times in your life where you have felt as though you've completely failed at life, or maybe that's what your inner critic told you about yourself, because your life had gone such a different direction from your peers. And the reason it went such a different direction isn't because you wanted to stand out or you wanted to be unconventional. It's because your soul quite literally would not allow you to conform to whatever that pathway was. And most people that conform to those pathways, they do so either out of habit or out of external pressure, or they kind of force themselves that direction without ever really feeling fully fulfilled. But most people are actually able to kind of make themselves fit into those boxes. The unique thing that I'm getting about your spirit is you don't have that ability to live a lie. You don't have the ability to force yourself into a box that your spirit is trying to break out of. you don't have the ability to play this role that people want you to play when it doesn't feel authentic to who you are. Your soul is so resistant to that. And you may have been called stubborn by other people, or maybe you've perceived yourself that way, but it's a beautiful divine stubbornness because it keeps you aligned with your true soul's path. Even when that path is a winding road, even when it doesn't make sense to other people or even to your own self, even when it leads you places you never expected to go, or it takes longer than you ever imagined that it would, it's actually a gift that you have the kind of soul that quite literally will not allow you to betray yourself, that won't allow you to shrink for very long before you veer yourself back on course. And yet that is why over and over again, you are in these situations where you have to believe in something that others cannot see and that even you can't really see. You have to allow yourself to be unconventional, to look as though you're late to the party, so to speak, or like you never make it to the party, whatever the case is for you. I feel like there's something specific about your timing where you always feel almost like you're not meeting those milestones that society is expecting you to meet at specific times. And again, that's a huge trademark that you are one of these kinds of souls that is divinely stubborn, that is incapable of fitting themselves into some kind of box of conventionality that feels limiting to their spirit. And so I'm getting that you can look back on your life and you can probably see times where, for whatever reason, your spirit would not allow you to do something that looked like the easy route or looked like the conventional route, but you stubbornly went a different direction or held your ground, and maybe no one understood you, maybe no one believed in you, but ultimately, as you now connect the dots looking back, you realize that that led you down a pathway where you received some kind of opportunity or manifestation or ultimately a level of fulfillment in your life that you never ever could have experienced had you been able to force yourself down that more conventional pathway. So when you look back on your life and you see evidence of that, times where you allowed that divine stubbornness of your soul to lead you and then saw the way it turned out, you can apply that same mentality to whatever it is you're going through right now, even if it's a completely different area of your life or a completely different thing that you are manifesting. So I don't know who needs to hear that. That felt like a very specific message for someone, but I'm definitely picking up on the energy of a very specific collective that is in this state where their love life has literally been cleared out. Like the divine has weeded out your love life. Some of these people that were weeded out, I'm hearing that you may have been the one to let them go or to set boundaries, but it almost felt inevitable. It felt like your spirit was pushing you to do that. In other cases, it may have felt like it was being done for you, like that person just ghosted you or disappeared or disconnected, or this may have happened with multiple people. And now you're left kind of standing in this aloneness or this empty space. But what you need to know is the reason the space has been cleared is because something big is finally ready to actually manifest in your life. And again, if this is romantic for you, I feel like this is your person entering your life with the Knight of Cups in the upright position. But I'm also hearing that in the void, in that still space after the clearing out, there is an integration process that has to take place. So most likely this person doesn't come in immediately. They come in as you have the courage to hold this pure frequency, to hold this open, empty space fearlessly, trusting that what is meant for you is going to connect with you here and find you. But again, there's like this process of integration that's happening through that stillness. And what I'm getting as well is a major sign this message is for you. It's something very specific. And again, a lot of this reading does have that specificity to it, which is very interesting because these readings tend to be more collective. But anyway, one major sign that this is for you is ever since this space around you has been cleared romantically, or people have been cut out of your life, or you've distanced from people, whatever the case is, you've actually noticed that you've been attracting more attention than usual. Now, this is most likely from strangers or out in public. This doesn't have to be in a romantic context either, but I'm getting you've noticed more of this like glow or this radiance about you, or people may have even been complimenting you or commenting on how you seem more radiant or you have this glow about you, or something about you has shifted or changed. So you may have people noticing that about you. You might be receiving positive attention from strangers. And again, it doesn't have to be romantic. You might be noticing that people stare at you more when you're out in public or seem to want to talk to you more. It's like there's this magnetism about your energy. And what I'm getting here is this is a sign that the space has fully been cleared around you and that you've actually called your energy back to yourself. Because what I'm getting is that these different romantic dynamics, or maybe it was one person, whatever the case was for you, I feel like they were actually kind of subtly draining your energy, because they were kind of all pulling on your energy in different ways. Now, my guides are wanting me to be more specific. So I feel I'm speaking to someone who may have had people that they kept light communication with romantically from their past or from their present, or had different dating options, or I don't know what the case is. This could have been friendships as well. I'm just getting the sense of multiple different energies, whether they're friends or romantic potentials. And the feeling I'm getting is that the mismatch had been there for a while and you had been aware of it, but you still kind of kept these people in your life in a way and didn't really realize how much heavily engaging with them was actually affecting your energy. And what I'm getting is that so what was happening here in a lot of these dynamics, well, the people who have been cleared out or weeded out of your life were people that were not fully honoring and respecting your energy, your truth. They weren't really seeing all of you. I should say that they weren't allowing themselves to see all of you, even though you had actually been sent into their lives to open their eyes, to help them to see more deeply on a spiritual level, on a cosmic level, through being around someone as radiant and spiritually connected as you. But many of these individuals had not been up to the task, and they had been avoiding doing that internal expansion work necessary to actually see and understand and hold all of you. And I feel like there was a buffer of time where they were kind of given a chance to do this, to do their inner work, to begin to be able to hold space for all that you are, but they weren't really stepping up to that. And so without even realizing it, what was happening is I keep hearing the words like good luck charm, which I've talked about before. People being connected to you can experience you almost like you are their good luck charm. Like good things just seem to happen to them when they're connected to you. And I'm getting that sense about a lot of these individuals. Like they sense that having you in their life was of value to them, or was bringing them some kind of success or a boost of happiness or good fortune, but at the same time, they were not actually fully seeing and acknowledging and celebrating you in your power. And so what was happening is it's like your energy was leaking to these different individuals in a way, and you may not have even been really aware of it. But now all of that magnetism that they were kind of using secondhand has actually returned back to you fully. And that's why you're noticing this glow, this radiance about you. And even strangers are noticing this about you as well. And I'm hearing from here on out, you are to be much more selective, not because there was anything wrong with the way you were connecting in the past. I feel like that was correct for that phase of your life, but something has shifted in your energy. And you now have this awareness that, wait a second, I've shifted into a new era, and now I need to be more selective with my time, my energy, my communication, who I engage with, how much I share with them, all of those kinds of things, because you've literally been elevated to a higher level. And so what I'm getting is that I'm also getting what you thought was a loss is actually a blessing. So for some of you, some of these dynamics that exited your life, or maybe it was one person who ghosted you or distanced from you, I have to say, I know it's getting specific, but for someone listening, there is one specific person who either rejected you or ghosted you or dropped off really suddenly. This could be a friend, a family member, maybe an opportunity at the workplace or with your business or romantically or whatever this is. But I feel like there's someone or maybe multiple people or situations that just up and left your life or disconnected from you or ghosted you. And you felt that when it happened like a loss, as though you were losing that person and there was a sadness associated with that. But my guides are saying it's actually a blessing in disguise, because you also noticed after that situation, after that door fully closed, you noticed that you had that radiance about you that we just talked about, that glow, that magnetic energy. It's almost like your manifestation power amplified tenfold, because although you may have felt an attachment to that person or that thing or whatever it was actually mismatched with you energetically, at least for the time being. Of course, that doesn't have to be forever, because people and situations can shift their energy and align with us on a higher level as well. But I'm getting that at least for now, this was mismatched for you energetically. So it actually was a blessing that this cleared itself out of your life. And now you are feeling, yes, there may be still some lingering sadness from people who have left your life or situations you had to disconnect from. There's this sense of empty space, but there's also a profound peace and clarity and a stillness within you. And it's the stillness that comes before a truly magical moment. And that's why I keep saying, I feel like you're in the moment of stillness that happens before something huge manifests in your life. I just saw a rainbow in my mind's eye. Maybe that's significant for someone, but I am going to go ahead and shuffle more of the cards here just to see what else wants to come out. I know we've only pulled one card so far. It's just been one of those readings where, I don't know, you've brought a very powerful energy to this reading, because so much just seemed to flow through naturally. Whoa, I almost dropped some of the cards. But I am going to put a pretty specific thumbnail and title on this video so that if it's meant for you, you can find it. I feel like this is going to connect with a specific collective going through this right now. And my guides also want me to share actually what I posted on Instagram about this, because I posted this last night or yesterday morning, and it relates directly to what we're talking about here. So the message is, or it was last night, I don't know, time has been so weird lately. Have you guys noticed this? I feel like time at times feels so slow lately, and then other times it just suddenly seems to skip or like pick up. Anyway, so what I wrote on Instagram is, you've reached the vibrational threshold of a version of yourself who no longer tolerates ambiguity, asymmetry, or misalignment, not because you're cold, but because you're finally safe enough and whole enough to choose peace over potential, clarity over confusion, sovereignty over codependency. You've done enough trauma alchemy. You've reparented your inner self enough. You've touched your own radiance enough. You've seen behind the curtain of almost love enough. And so without ceremony, it just clicked. This is done. I need space for something new. That's not harsh. That's divine timing. The gentleness you once thought was boring now feels like peace, a sign that you're healing the part of you that thought love had to hurt to feel real. You recently unhooked your field from many long-standing energetic ties. Each one of them, in their own way, took up bandwidth, whether through overthinking, future thinking, emotional labor, or energetic codependence. That's that leaking of energy, by the way, that we were talking about earlier. I feel like that's why my guides really wanted me to reference this post. So yes, you feel the stillness, you feel the sudden drop, the quiet, but don't confuse that with loss. This is spaciousness. This is what it feels like right before the next alignment rushes in. Wow, so that actually ended up being really powerfully aligned with this reading. So I'm actually going to pull some cards from the Energy Oracle deck and the traditional tarot, but I am going to take a quick sip of my tea here first. There's just something so refreshing and relaxing about peppermint tea at night. See, this is me trying to slow down and nourish myself like we're always talking about here on the channel. I wrote a post on YouTube that many of you saw where I shared that I'm taking a little break from daily videos just to really integrate this total lunar eclipse energy and to really bring the best of myself to all of you here on the channel. So, of course, I always admonish you to do the same as much as you can, to take that time, space, and rest for yourself. I'm hearing you put someone at a point of decision and they're very in their feelings. Now, the thing I get about this, I can't believe we're opening up this whole dynamic right now. because I feel like this is going to be a whole new thread of energy. But you know what? We're just going to go there because this is what is coming up. This is where the energy is leading us. So let's dive in. Another specific message, as though we haven't been specific enough through this whole reading, but I'm getting specifically that there is someone that you've put in a point of indecision. And so the thing about this person is they are actually pretending like their mind is already made up, or they appear that their mind is already made up. I don't know who this is, but they're actually still at a crossroads internally. They're still very indecisive, but on the surface, it looks like they've already made a firm decision or set some kind of boundary, but internally, they feel very mixed up about this, because with the envy card at the bottom of the deck and the temple path, oh wow, this is getting interesting. So, a wave of chills too is always a sign of confirmation there. So with the envy card, this person's heart is longing for you secretly, like beneath the surface, but for some reason, they're pretending on the surface as though their mind is already made up, maybe that they don't feel anything, or that they've already chosen a different path, or that they've closed some kind of door here. But internally, you've brought them to this major pivotal point of decision, and their mind is anything but made up. Sorry for the voice crack. I don't know why my voice has been doing that a little bit lately. That's part of why I'm resting myself here. But I do have some seasonal allergies in my local area that is usually the strongest around September. So that's kind of what I'm going through as well. But anyway, with the Temple Path card, when this person's heart is longing for you, there's something else in the equation as well, because they're not just longing for you. They are actually longing for a timeline where the two of you are more connected and they are more connected to a higher version of themselves. But that is not this timeline. Like on this timeline, they are still, I'm hearing rigid. Like there's some rigidness or a coldness about them. They may be caught in some kind of system here. I see this person literally caught in a web. So I don't know what that web is for them, but I feel that somehow you actually represent their higher path and a higher version of themselves that they've been lacking the confidence to step into with the Angel of Strength. You know what? This card, it felt like it was in the reverse position, but then it looked like it was in the upright position. And now I'm realizing it's because this person is in an Angel of Strength reversed energy, and you are in an Angel of Strength in the upright position energy, meaning that they are actually feeling a low sense of confidence in themselves. And when I say that, I feel like it's more like they aren't really fully clear on who they are outside of this rigid system or this web that they're caught in, or other people's opinions or ideas about them. I feel like this person hasn't really gotten to the core of themselves yet. And so they're kind of wavering. That's part of why they're also so internally mixed up here, even though on the surface it looks like they've been decisive. And then they see you in this opposite energy. You've made it to the core of who you are. You know who you are on the deepest level. And that's why you are in such a radiance right now. You radiate this effortless energy of someone who truly knows who they are, who has done that level of inner work. And the thing about this is many people, I would say most people, never really get to the core of themselves in one lifetime, because usually it takes a lot of spiritual awakenings or dark nights of the soul that completely shake us up, that like rattle our soul and create this kind of earthquake energy within us that shakes things up enough that we begin to go deeper into the layers of ourselves. And I feel you've had many of those kinds of experiences in your life that really shook up your soul, but also caused you to go deeper, to dive more into who you really are. And you've done layer after layer of shadow work. And I'm getting that while, of course, from some perspective, we are never quote unquote 100% healed, I feel like you did something very powerful in this lifetime, which is like, I'm seeing you diving all the way down through all of these layers of yourself, layer after layer of shadow, of unconsciousness. And you truly got to the core of who you are, your core values, who you really are beneath everything else, beneath all of the programming, beneath your ancestral history, beneath your upbringing, beneath belief systems or idea systems, even your own mind. And you really got to the core of your soul. So now, of course, there are still moments that will feel triggers. We will have shadows kind of resurface or things that need to be dealt with. But it's different now because you've tasted what it's like to connect with your own core. And most people never have that experience. And so, yes, of course, there are still triggers. There are things that happen. We're human. We're here having a human experience. But the thing that sets you apart is you are someone who has done so much shadow work, so much healing, so much inner work that you've truly discovered who you are at the core of all of those triggers. And I feel that this person really admires that about you, but they can't fully name it. They don't really completely understand or comprehend it. They know for a fact that this is something they haven't accomplished within themselves, that you have this knowingness of who you are that they don't have within themselves. And this really intrigues them, but I also get that it mixes them up internally as well. And so again, this person is presenting as very decisive. And here we have happy family, of course, at the bottom of the deck, but they're not decisive. Just to finish that thought there, although we've reiterated that, it's almost like this person's soul is trying to reiterate that through the reading. Like, no, I know it seems like I made a decision about this, but I'm really mixed up inside about it. And we have the happy family card here at the bottom of the deck as well, telling me like, if, for example, this is a romantic situation, I feel like this is someone who still can't let go of the idea of the two of you being together someday or things working out between you, even though on the surface, it looks like they completely closed off that possibility in some way. So it doesn't have to be romantic. Take it however it connects. But I am going to continue this reading over to the extended, so I really have no idea what's going to be coming up there. It might be a brand new reading. It might pick up on some of these threads of energy. I'm just going to let that reading kind of guide itself. But if you are feeling guided to it, then I will leave a link to the extended in the pinned comment and description box underneath this video. Otherwise, I am wishing you all a beautiful day and weekend. And as always, I will connect with you here again in Monday's collective reading.